Flashes of red and blue danced across the hood of my bright yellow Vortex GT as I stood there watching. Ryan Mercer, the 17-year-old son of our HOA president, was being handcuffed on my driveway, still yelling that his mother owned this neighborhood and that the cops would lose their jobs by morning. I didn't say a word. I just handed the officer my phone, showing him the security footage. That night the whole street learned what kind of power the Mercers really had and what happened when someone finally stood up to them. When I first moved into Maple Rest Heights, I thought I'd made it. The neighborhood was picture-perfect manicured lawns, white fences, spotless sidewalks. My software business had finally taken off, and for the first time in my life, I could afford the kind of car I'd dreamed of since college, a sun-yellow Vortex GT. That car wasn't just transportation. It was the symbol of everything I'd worked for, every late night, every failed pitch that led to one big success. I parked it proudly on my circular driveway right in front of my corner lot home. It was mine. I didn't know it then, but that one simple decision would start a war I never asked for. The first time I met Linda Mercer, she arrived at my front door like a corporate storm cloud. Late 40s, perfect hair, cream blazer, clipboard tucked under one arm. Her heels clicked like punctuation marks. "Welcome to Maple Rest Heights," she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Then she glanced at my car and added, "Such a vibrant color for such a peaceful neighborhood. You might consider keeping it in the garage. It disrupts the visual harmony." I laughed politely, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. 2 weeks later, I got my first official letter, an HOA violation for disturbing community tranquility. $50. Signed in looping cursive by Linda herself. I looked up the rule she cited. It was so vague it could have applied to anything from a noisy lawnmower to a bright doormat. I ignored it. Big mistake. More letters followed, each one more aggressive than the last. $100, then $200. Noise complaints, reckless driving, lowering property values. Total nonsense. Every time I saw her name in my mailbox, my stomach twisted. And every time she showed up at my door, her son Ryan was there. Tall, broad-shouldered, smug grin plastered on his face like he owned the world. He didn't speak much at first, just stood behind her like backup muscle, but his eyes always lingered on my car. Then came the day he didn't bring his mother. It was a hot Thursday afternoon. I was washing the Vortex, music playing low sun, reflecting off the hood like melted gold. Suddenly Ryan came strutting up my driveway. No greeting, no pretense, just arrogance walking on two legs. "Hand me the keys," he said. I blinked. "Excuse me," he smirked. "My mom runs the HOA. Everything inside the gates belongs to us, including that car." I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. "That's not how property law works, kid." His face went red. "You'll regret disrespecting my family," he shouted, then turned and stomped off. Halfway down the street he yelled over his shoulder, "You have no idea what my mom can do to people who cross her." I should have called the police right then. Instead, I went inside, shaking my head, thinking it was just teenage bluster. I was wrong again. At 2:30 that night, I woke up to a sound. I'll never forget the metallic click of something hitting glass. I sat up, heart pounding. I opened my phone and pulled up my security cameras. And there he was, Ryan Mercer, crouched beside my car, crowbar in one hand, screwdriver in the other, trying to pry open the door. My breath caught in my throat. Scratches glistened across the paint as he jabbed the tool under the handle. I whispered into the phone, calling 911, my voice trembling. The dispatcher told me to stay inside. So I did. I watched through the screen as Ryan's frustration grew, his movements jerky, desperate. He looked back at his house twice, but it stayed dark. No mommy to save him this time. Then, faint at first, I heard sirens. They got louder fast. Ryan froze, wide-eyed, then doubled down, hammering at the door like an idiot trying to beat the clock. The patrol car turned, the corner lights flashing. "Step away from the vehicle," an officer shouted. Ryan spun around, yelling, "You can't arrest me. My mom runs this place." The lead cop, an older guy with gray hair and zero patience, said flatly, "Son, your mom doesn't run the state of Arizona." Ryan tried to argue. He tried to pull rank that didn't exist. It didn't matter. Within seconds, he was face down on the asphalt, hands cuffed behind him. I stepped outside, keeping calm. "Officer," I said, "I've got the footage right here." I handed over my phone. He nodded. "We'll take it from here." Then the screaming started. Linda came storming out of her house in a silk robe and slippers, shouting before she even reached the street. "This is harassment. You can't do this. That's my son." When she saw me standing there, when she realized what was happening, her rage twisted into something darker. "You set him up," she hissed. "You provoked him with that flashy car of yours. You tempted him." The cops kept their composure. One of them told her calmly, "Ma'am, we have video evidence. Attempted grand theft auto is a felony." She went silent. For the first time since I'd met her, Linda Mercer had no script to follow. Over the next 48 hours, everything spiraled. Ryan was charged with attempted grand theft auto, criminal mischief, and property damage. The scratches and dents on my Vortex added up to more than $3,000, enough to make it a felony. Linda hired a high-priced attorney and started threatening to countersue me for defamation and emotional distress. That's when I hit my breaking point. I'd moved here for peace, for quiet. And now I was fielding phone calls from lawyers, getting stares from neighbors watching the car I loved sit in the garage with scars that weren't just physical. I remember sitting on my couch one night, lights off, wondering if it was all worth it. Maybe I should just sell the car, move somewhere else, start over. Maybe I really had provoked them somehow. Maybe flaunting my success had painted a target on my back. But then I rewatched the footage. Ryan breaking into my car with a crowbar. Linda screaming lies in her bathrobe. And something in me snapped, not in anger, but in resolve. I was done playing quiet. I sent copies of the video to the HOA board, to the local police, even to a couple of neighbors who'd hinted at their own issues with Linda. And it was like pulling a pin from a grenade. One by one, stories started surfacing. People Linda had fined for ridiculous reasons, paint tones too vibrant, kids' bikes left out for 5 minutes, even a retired couple who'd been charged for decorative clutter because they had garden gnomes. And Ryan. Turns out he'd been caught vandalizing mailboxes months before, but Linda had buried the complaints. The HOA called an emergency meeting. I didn't go, but I heard about it later. It was chaos. Half the room yelling for Linda's resignation, the other half demanding an audit of everything she'd ever signed. When the votes were counted, it was 8-1. The only yes came from Linda herself. Within days, the story hit the local news. HOA president's son arrested for attempted car theft. Her pristine image crumbled overnight. Her law firm forced her to resign. Neighbors lined up to share their experiences with reporters, and 3 families filed civil suits against her for harassment and abuse of power. As for Ryan, juvenile court sentenced him to 18 months in detention and ordered full restitution for the damage he caused. I was there that day in court. When the judge read the sentence, Linda let out this guttural sound, half scream, half sob. She turned toward me, eyes burning. "You ruined my family." I met her gaze and said quietly, "No, Linda, you did that yourself." The bailiff led Ryan away, cuffs glinting under the fluorescent lights. Linda just stood there motionless like a statue, watching her kingdom fall. The same woman who once dictated mailbox colors and lawn heights was now powerless, stripped of every illusion of control. When I got home, I walked out to the driveway. The Vortex was back from the shop, paint flawless again. I ran my hand along the fender, feeling the warmth of the sun against the metal. The street was silent, no more warning letters, no more threats, no more clipped heels echoing on the sidewalk. Just quiet. Real quiet. For the first time since moving there, Maple Rest Heights actually felt like home. And as I looked at that perfect reflection on the car's hood, I couldn't help but think sometimes it takes someone breaking the rules to finally expose who's been hiding behind them all along.